Do you have suspicions as to why they retracted it? Do you think this came in? Because did I see something about like CoinDesk or investors in Chainalysis or something?
CoinDesk's holding company, Digital Currency Group, is
Yeah.
invested in Chainalysis. Yeah, and that was something that made me extremely angry as well because I had no idea, right? And none of this was disclosed, like on the page of my article. So CoinDesk has like all the way at the bottom in their website footer, they have like it's kind of like terms and conditions. It's like a very small line that says, "Hello, we're owned by Digital Currency Group, and here you can find the list of things that have been invested that we've invested in." But like nobody fucking reads that, right? So what made me so angry about that was that because this wasn't clearly disclosed in my article, like that could have been something used to discredit me, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Huh.
that's something that I really didn't like about it. And I mean, we can speculate on like what the real reason is for why they did it. I don't think that makes much sense. I think the way more interesting question is why the fuck is nobody writing about this? Because we're not talking about like some fringe software project here. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar US government contractor, right? And every time they lock someone up, the first people to jump on these stories are people like, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and, trying to paint these people like they're fucking Batman. And no one apparently has ever stopped to ask the question of, does this actually work? Like, is this the state of journalism that we're in, that you're just taking things for granted that people tell you now?
But this is the state of journalism we're in right now.
I know. Unfortunately, apparently.
Let's be very honest about this. If anyone from the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, yada, yada, writes about Bitcoin, they either write about when the price is going up or they write negative hit pieces, whether that's to do with mining or whatever. They've all been approached multiple times with facts and more accurate information, accurate articles, and they've ignored it. Even the piece, I can't remember, there was a piece in the New York Times a few months ago. I'm pretty sure Troy Cross was helping them, and they still wrote a hit piece. I mean, they write hit pieces now, and they only ever write hit pieces on Bitcoin. So that is, Lola, that is the state of journalism we're in now. I mean, you only have to be in Bitcoin for a short amount of time to realize like the entire media sector is bullshit now.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, what do you do about it, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people said to me, like, oh, just self-publish these things, right? Like, put them on Noster, right? Like, do value for value. Like, those are really nice ideas, but I can't survive off of someone tipping me 10 cents for a 2,000 word article.
No, you won't. And on Noster, you're only ever going to reach an audience that it's a bit like the Bitcoiners talking to Bitcoiners about Bitcoin. Yeah. They're all going to go, yeah, fuck them, fuck this is bullshit. And it's just like they're sat in a very neat circle of people who agree. Is you actually want to break through and communicate this to a wider audience, help them understand it. So like, yeah, I'm completely with you, but that is a much wider question about what we do about it, because I think there's definitely a lot of big issues within corporate. I mean, Michael Malice is the one who very directly tells me this is corporate media now. Do not call it media, call it exactly what it is, corporate media. I think even Dave Smith on Rogan the other day was referring to it as corporate media. It is now corporate sponsored media. It is not journalism. There are very few journalists out there anymore. It's corporate media. So like you ask a very important question. Look, I've got ideas, but what do you think we do about it?
I have no idea.
Well, I
really have no idea.
I just think we have to, I think it's a long game. It's a bit like Bitcoin, right? We all know why Bitcoin matters, and it's different for different people. For you, Lola, it's one reason. For me, it's another reason. For an activist working in the Middle East, it's another reason. For somebody in Africa trying to transact with cross-border, it's another reason. There's all these different reasons, right? But we all know it's a very good form of money for certain things. Maybe not a unit of account yet, but we do know that. Yet we still have this issue where lots of people aren't buying the story. Listen, I operate a Bitcoin podcast. All my friends know what I do. None of them are buying Bitcoin. I talk to them about it. None of them are buying Bitcoin. I think media is the same. It's a long game. The 13 years, 14 years nearly we've had Bitcoin, it's grown out of the cypherpunks and through the nerds, through some of the macro people into wider culture. But it's still like whatever millions who own it. It's going to take years, maybe decades. I think the same thing's going to happen with media. I think you will support it for as long as you realize it's bullshit, and it's going to keep taking beatings until people realize that they can't trust it, and then you have to trust it more independent sources, whether it's someone listening to my podcast or reading your articles. Right? You got to slowly just beat them down.
Infiltrate.
Yeah. But there's another, because I was thinking about it today. I often think of articles and never write them, but today I was thinking about, how do I write an article to get people interested in Bitcoin when I know really they want to buy it for one reason, which is make money? What you talked about at the start, right? That's the one reason. And I was trying to kind of articulate it in my own mind when this morning, and I was thinking it's trying to communicate to people that don't buy Bitcoin to make money. Buy it as a protest vote.
Yeah.
Whether you hold 50 or 100 pounds, you're part of the protest, part of the movement. And can you gradually bring people into this? Because I think the benefits of getting more people into this is it's making a stronger network. So I think it's the same with the media. It's like, your articles are not only maybe opinion pieces, but journalism, but they are a protest as well, because you're doing proper journalism.
Thank you.
Okay, so how are you going to infiltrate the New York Times and get L0la on the front cover?
I don't think that will happen anytime soon, but I did realize that like there's been so many layoffs lately, right? Like with CoinDesk, with Vice as well. And some people from Vice Media actually founded a new media outlet called 404 Media, which I can highly recommend. They're doing a lot of investigative tech reporting. And I think that that's maybe the only way forward, right? It's like you need to take a risk and you need to start self-publishing things. But for that, you need a platform and you need a reputation for these things.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the 404. It's a cool name for a media company.
It's cool, right? Yeah.
It's paid subscription. Yeah, it's these tricky things. It's almost it's I think it's very difficult to build big media companies now. I mean, Vice found out. They were very cool. I mean, I assume like me, you absolutely loved them at the time where Shane Smith was traveling the world and they were making cool films, and then they wanted to be worth 5 billion and just they went woke. Created a lot of bullshit. They lost their roots and then died off. But there are a lot of successful people who managed to do it as one person or 3 people or 5 people. We just need the larger ones to also go broke. I did find out, a lot of the the 24-hour news channels that you get as part of your cable. The only reason they survive is because they're part of those packages. When you sign up, you get a certain number of channels as part of it.
Yeah.
Revenue-wise, that's why a lot of them survive. I think that might have been Michael Malice who told me that. But without those cable package deals, most of them would be dead.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, the shift that we've seen just in how we consume media as well, right? Like nobody's really interested in information anymore, right? You want to sit in front of your phone and watch fucking Instagram reels, right? Like there's this whole, like everything's changed. You don't go out in the morning on a Sunday and buy a newspaper for $5 and read the whole thing, right? Like this is how this stuff used to work. Nobody pays for media anymore, right? And what you can do now is you can have like these subscription models, right? Like that works okay for some people, or you can do the corporate sponsored route. But then again, you have to be really careful about who you let into like your den in the end, right? Because you can't. It's really hard to be critical of the people that like bite the hand that feeds you.
Have you tried the Substack model?
I haven't. I've been thinking about it though.
Yeah, I found that's a good way of supporting people. I have like 4 or 5 Substack subscriptions, and they're a bit like gym memberships. Even when you're not using it, you're still paying for it.
You still pay for them, yeah.
Yeah, and you get kind of like stuck with it. I refresh about once a year, just get rid of the ones I don't read. But you're right. I mean, I feel like there's like 2 ways people are consuming media. It's your very quick, snappy tweets and Instagram reels, or 2-hour-long podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's either or.
Yeah, that kind of middle ground has died.
Yeah.
So are you not going to be doing anything for CoinDesk now?
I'm not sure. They were very kind to me. They told me that if I ever write anything like this again, I should reach out to them. I don't know. I've kind of lost trust, you know, and with what they've done to me. You know, I don't really feel like they're going to have my back if stuff happens, you know.
Yeah, but you can do that now with Bitcoin Magazine, right? You have that relationship.
Yeah, I've had that for a long time. Yeah, I thought, you know, I'd try something else for a change, and that's come around to bite me in the ass, unfortunately.
So what are you going to work on now? Are you working on any other stories?
There's actually a follow-up story coming up, which is also an expert report in the same case of the head of investigation of CipherTrace. So CipherTrace is also a blockchain surveillance firm. It's owned by MasterCard. And what they've done is they looked at all of the evidence that is there, and they tried to kind of evaluate like all of these heuristics and these things that Chainalysis, like these conclusions that Chainalysis came to. And they found that the heuristics used by Chainalysis are quote unquote reckless. Yeah. So that's the next article that's coming out. There's a lot of spicy stuff in that expert report. There is one statement where the expert says that a lot of Chainalysis customers would allegedly approach CipherTrace complaining that Chainalysis doesn't work.
Huh.
Yeah, this is in court. Like, you know, this is not just something that someone made up.
But then, therefore, this is really good for Roman, right?
Yeah, it's really good for him. Definitely.
I wonder if, therefore, he would be within his right to take legal action against them for the 2 years he's spent unnecessarily in jail.
I'm not sure how that works, but I do think that you get compensation if you're unjustly imprisoned.
Which he has been.
Apparently. I mean, that's also what the expert report from CipherTrace finds, is that they say they have found zero evidence of Roman having committed that crime.
Do we know if there's anybody else who's currently sat in jail who's been prosecuted because of Chainalysis software?
I mean, the last numbers that I've had was that Chainalysis was used in over 500,000 cases, I think, last year.
500,000?
Yeah, I think I don't want to say anything wrong, but I think that's the number that I have in mind. Yeah, just to investigate. Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, I'm going to assume amongst that there's a large number where the evidence was crucial for the prosecution, which I think that's possibly going to lead to, God, that could lead to a whole number of appeals.
Yeah, this is what the CipherTrace expert, the conclusion that they also come to. They actually say that all cases in which Chainalysis has been used should be reevaluated, and under no circumstances should blockchain surveillance, and this is like somebody that is head of investigations of a blockchain surveillance firm, say in no cases should blockchain surveillance or blockchain forensics be used as actual evidence, but it should only be used to generate leads.
Wow. Okay. Well, good. Then hopefully that's this is going to make life very difficult for Chainalysis, and hopefully their valuation will plummet, and fuck them for this. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to want to jump on the phone with Tor and have a catch up with him following this and see what he says, and I might append that to this because I think, this sounds like one of those things that's blowing the case open.
I really hope it does. I really hope it does, because like this entire case can really change the way that like we're applying AML, that we're dealing with KYC, OFAC regulations, right? Like all of this can be impacted just by this case. So it's super important.